When we speak about Jesus as the Son of God, we're not just talking about him as being, the adopted Son of God, in the sense that we are sons of God. We are children of God because we are adopted into his family. This is why, there's that phrase, the one and only, that term monogenes, or only begotten, as the older translations have it, which I prefer the only begotten, but that's another another debate there. But the only begotten Son of God. So there's this uniqueness in that phrase that's used, monogenes, however you want to translate that, because there's debate about that. But that Jesus is the Son of God in this unique sense that no one else is the Son of God. Okay, so this is different from, like a Mormon conception, for example, where we are all children of God in some real sense. We are of the same kind of being that God is. But here we're saying that he is the Son of God in a unique sense and in an eternal sense. Okay, this is different from the idea of certain early Christian groups or heretical sects that break off from early Christianity, that start teaching this idea known as adoptionism. And adoptionism teaches that Jesus basically became the Son of God in time. Now, there are different ways of parsing this out. One is to say he became the Son of God at his resurrection because he kind of earned that title. One is to say that when the Spirit descended on him in his baptism, he became the Son of God. And the other is to say that through his virgin birth, he became the Son of God. So there are some critical scholars who have criticized, in terms of the development of Christology in the New Testament, who make the argument that basically there's this logical progression of the earliest Christians see Jesus as becoming the Son of God at his resurrection. Then others kind of push it back a little further so that he becomes the Son of God at his baptism. Then some push it back a little further so that he becomes divine at his birth. That's why this idea of the virgin birth develops. This is what the critics are saying, not what I'm saying, just to be clear. And then from there, then Christians come up with this idea of Christ being pre-existent. Now, of course, I don't agree with that at all. I think that there is plenty of Old Testament prophecy as well as evidence throughout the New Testament that Jesus is indeed pre-existent. This is not just some human tradition or idea that developed based on some other principles. So Jesus really is pre-existent. He is the pre-existent Son of God. If you want to read about this, read Simon Gathercole's book, The Pre-Existent Son, which is excellent on this topic. So Jesus pre-existed as the Son of God, meaning that when we're speaking about Jesus as the Son of God, we're talking about his nature. We're not talking about his mission on this earth, but we're talking about something that distinguishes him from us as children of God. He is the eternal Logos. He is the eternal Son of the Father. He is the second person of the Holy Trinity, is how we express it in our creedal language. So Jesus is the Son of God, and the Son in a unique sense that no one else is the Son. So that unique Son, being fully and completely divine, sharing of one essence with the Father, okay, sharing of one essence with the Father, and this gets into some other early debates. When you look at the early church, as I said, a lot of the debates really surround the nature of Christ, who Christ is, and some of these we have the Ebionites, for example, who hold to this kind of adoption idea. So the Ebionites start teaching that this adoptionist idea, and the Ebionites are this kind of Jewish group who believe Jesus is the Messiah, but they also hold on to a lot of the Jewish dietary laws. And you see pictures of this even in the New Testament with people like the Judaizers that Paul is confronting in Galatians and some other groups as well. But then you have other groups that start to show up, and we'll talk about a couple of these. One of them is the Docetists, who say Jesus didn't have a true human nature. And we'll talk about that after this. But first, this notion of him being the Son of God, his divine nature, this is challenged by the adoptionists, but also by others. So we have this group called the Arians, following a man named Arius in the 4th century, which leads to the Council of Nicaea. And we have basically two parties that are debating who Jesus is. Actually, there are three parties, technically. There are the Arians, there are the semi-Arians, and then there are the who we would call the Orthodox, those who follow Athanasius. So within these debates, you've got a few major figures, but basically three positions. There's the position of Arius, and those who held the position of Arius said that Jesus is of a different substance than the Father. So heterousios, okay, of a different substance of the Father. This is the original phrase, at least, that's used. And this means that Jesus, he's a created being, he's a created thing. They use this phrase, there was when the Son was not. So he was created. And so that means that Jesus is not the same kind of being that the Father is. He is God in a lesser sense. He's not really God in the way that God the Father is God. And so he's a totally different substance or different essence or different kind of thing than the Father. And then you had the Athanasians, those who we would call the Orthodox, who say that no, he is homoousios, of the same substance as the Father, meaning he is divine. The Father is divine, the Son is divine, the Spirit is divine. None of those are less divine than the others. So the notion of the Trinity relies on the fact that we believe that the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit are all divine. And then you have this actual third position, which is the one that's more well known than where Arius at least started, which is that Jesus is of a similar substance to the Father, or homoousios. And so you have this debate which really centers on this one letter, this iota, which is like an I, okay? So in English, we put it as an I. So it's homoousios versus homoousios. And it said that the battle over orthodoxy and heresy, the division was over one letter. And that's true, because that one letter meant everything. Because it asked the question, is Jesus really divine, or is he just like God? Is he God, or is he like God? And while it may seem like a very minimal distinction, it really alters your entire Christian faith, and it alters who the God is that you worship. And there are all sorts of problems that come up if Jesus is not truly God. Now, this debate was raging so much in the 4th century that historians talk about how basically you go to the market to buy food and people are debating this. You go to the market and people ask, what do you think? What do you think about this? This is like the talk of the time. I wish this was the case today, that people cared enough about theology that you could do that, say that people would want to just come up to each other, instead of worrying about, celebrity gossip and things like that. People are spending their time debating, like, who is Jesus? Who is this Jesus? What do you think about him? Is he divine? Is he of a similar substance to the Father, or is he of a different substance to the Father? So those debates that are happening then lead to what we know as the Council of Nicaea. And at the Council of Nicaea, this is where we get the Nicene Creed. And in the Nicene Creed, the phrase that's most significant is that phrase of one essence with the Father, or of one substance with the Father.